Hey guys, so real quick, this is JetXC here. I wanted to kind of talk about how this game started and where it's at now with the fan service and possible improvements and how they've been doing so far. These will be my honest opinions. And the reason I want to talk about this was because I got this in the mail. I apparently won a selected draw after doing the questionnaire. So I'm hoping, based off that, they hopefully reviewed what I thought of the game, and maybe hopefully they'll take some of that into consideration with the other people and that won in the draw. So yeah, I just want to kind of make that little tidbit there. But yeah, let's get into the video. Okay guys, so let's talk about Snowbreak. At the beginning, I played the game for about maybe 2 weeks. I thought it was cool. There was a lot of cool things about it. It being very niche in its own right? It was a gacha game, basically some sort of a looter shooter, kind of, I guess you could say, maybe. But it was a shooter in general, so that's what made it more unique, a fully rendered 3D shooter. So it was cool. I thought some of the characters were cool. Honestly, some of them were kind of boring to me. I did like Life, I did like Yao, I liked Enya. But the world came off very bland. And again, this is the launch of Snowbreak. There wasn't a lot to be desired, and I think that's what happens with a lot of gacha games that don't like have a good start. If you don't have a good start as a gacha game, it's really tough to come back. For example, I play Brown Dust 2, and that game started off great. Like, they made, I think, 10 million within the first like couple months, but it fell off so hard because there were so many bugs. There were so many quality of life things that it didn't have. And now, today, in 2024, Brown Dust 2 is a fantastic game in its own right. So, yeah, this game had a rough start. There wasn't really much to do. The world was kind of bland, in my opinion. Me and a friend were playing this game. He quit, but I quit a little bit later on. We basically agreed that the UI was kind of bland. The character models are not great. And just in-game, like, in general, like, the environment doesn't look that good. It needs some type of an update or just more detail to the in-game models and environment, something. Or at least the in-game models, I'd say, right? But that was something we didn't like. Another thing I didn't like was the gacha rate system. 0.7 for a 5-star orange operative, and then after 80 or on the 80th pull, it's a 50-50. Crazy. I think altogether it's like 1.87 for a 5-star in general. But for the one that you want, it's like 0.7. So anyway, rates are absolutely terrible. It's comparable to Genshin, and this isn't a Genshin level game at all. I think rates would be a lot better if it was like 3%, to be honest with you. It may sound crazy, but with that in mind, it doesn't give you the incentive to really pull on weapon banners, because you really want to save your digicash and your tickets for the regular banner so you can get your character. And getting dupes, it's not worth it because you can do them. You can basically do them for free by doing everyday tasks in the personal file. So, that is what it is. But yeah, after that, I played for like 2 weeks. I quit. Fast forward 6 months later, the Haru patch comes, right? So the Haru patch was different because honestly, it was probably the first exciting trailer, because I went back and watched other trailers. I even watched the summer trailer, and I was like, oh, these summer skins are kind of cool. They're, the characters look hot, but it's like, is it worth it? And I think I did play that, and then I stopped. But yeah, then the Haru stuff came out, and that kind of went viral on Twitter. It got like, I think over 90k views the last time I checked it, like 6 months ago. But Haru was different from all the other units because she wasn't in the typical like tactical, but some people call it tactical because, it looks cool, I guess, right? She wasn't in the typical tactical outfit that everybody wears, where they're just completely covered up. It's so basically it was like a fan service look, right? And they highlighted her, like, her boobs, her ass, all that stuff, and she was a cool character overall. She's still one of my favorite characters to play, like in game when it comes to like mobs and stuff. She's super fun. And me personally, I like pistol gameplay. So I was like, you know what? Let me jump back in. And I decided to give it a fair shot. I decided to grind through story, figure out what to build, how to build things. And I got to a point where I wasn't able to pull for Haru, and she came off banner. So I kind of lost a little bit of hope, but I continued to grind. Then, when the test trailer came out, that was when everybody was like, okay, this is moving into a fan service route. Because Tess was like, oh my god, like her design was A1. It was so good. She had no tactical look whatsoever. She just had a magician. She's a magician, but she's got like this crazy like tank top and cape and all that stuff and skirt. But she was a fun and unique character, and I think that was the first time when we got like some really lewd like Finny skin, and then I forgot there was another skin. I know Tess got a skin, and that's when people outside of Snowbreak started to notice and be like, oh, should I come back to this game? Oh, should I try this game now? You would see those comments on Twitter or from Reddit, whatever, right? Or from YouTube. And so I was able to get Tess, and then eventually I got Haru down the line. I forgot how. It might have been during her rerun, actually. But I eventually got Haru, and yeah, I stuck to it. I played it. I was maining Life. I was able to get 5-star Finny. I was starting to get characters that were fun and you needed to get through content. Well, anyone you can get through content with, but 5-star characters that I wanted personally. So, yeah, and then I think there was one other banner after that. I don't know if it was Moxer. I can't remember. It might have been a rerun for her, or I just don't remember after. But when the Katya banner came out, that was like GG's. Like, it was over. That was still to this day, probably one of the best characters they've released, and one of the best updates in general, when Katya came out. And everything from there on, and like in between there, has just been straight up fan service and loot. And I want to say this, I can understand some people that played it and like the tactical outfits. They weren't really here for fan service, and I can get that, right? Because it didn't start out like that. But to be honest, the fan service aspect really saved this game, in my opinion, especially when it comes to revenue and just getting the word out there. Because whether you like it or not, like these type of like fan service in general gets way more traction than a lot of like certain gameplay content. Because unless the gameplay looks really cool, like PGR, if it's like regular gacha game gameplay, which is just like chibi sprites or very stationary movements, it's not going to do anything. So that's why a lot of the skins and live 2D stuff gets a lot of traction. So it helps Snowbreak out in general. But I can understand people that like the tacticalness of it. But an all-female cast with a dorm room, come on, guys. Like, it was only a matter of time before they're like, okay, we should probably go this route, because we've got all the prerequisites to do this type of gacha game. And that's what it is, right? So now I'm playing it. I'm doing content on it. And I want to talk about the suggestions that I made to make this game better. Because I've mentioned in a past video for Snowbreak that there is a game coming out that honestly is probably going to be better than Snowbreak gameplay wise, unless they make big changes. Everybody take a look at this game. The beta came out. There's plenty of gameplay. It's called Duet Night Abyss. And if you've ever heard of the game Warframe, it's literally the anime version of Warframe. So look that up. The gunplay seems just as good, if not better. The skills seem just as good, if not better. The story, in my opinion, looks a little bit better, to be honest. The characters, I'd say they're about equal. I'd say Snowbreak in general, just because of the skins, seems to top it off a little bit better. And yeah, I mean, it has a lot of the modes that Snowbreak should have. So let's talk about that, right? Because I feel like if that game comes out and they don't make major changes, we might lose some Snowbreak fans. So first thing that I mentioned was movement. And a lot of looter shooters like Destiny 2, Warframe, even like First Descendant, movement is huge, right? And I feel like this game is very stale and it's very contained in these small maps. But they need some kind of fluid movement in this game, whether it be like parkour off the wall, or like, I don't know, like a backflip dodges or grappling hook, like just something that's very fluid or maybe unique to each character. Um, just so you're able to move around better and dodge things better, right? Just because and it makes it more fun and fluid. Like I said, it's more dynamic when you have that. So improving the movement of this game is number one. Number two, adding some permanent game modes like Defense Line Zero, Hero Games, adding and I think they did this during Katya's event. They had a mode where I think every five let me think. Yeah, it was like every 5 rounds. Well, it was like an endless, I forgot what it was called, but it was like an endless mode, and I think it went up to like 20 rounds or 10. But you could play those rounds, and you could upgrade and buy stuff like turret or healing. I want them to do like some kind of zombie type mode similar to that, but every 5 rounds you get like rewards, and you can continue. You can opt out on continuing or not. So let's say there's 20 runs or 20 waves. After every 5 waves, you get a reward, and you can opt out if you don't think you can beat the next 5 waves, right? And yeah, you just kind of do that. At first, I was thinking it could be endless, but probably not because it's a gacha game. So maybe max like 10 to 20. And then also keep like I said, Hero Game and Defense Line Zero, because the best feature in this game is the co-op stuff. I'll be honest, guys. Paradox Labyrinth is okay. They should be making improvements in the new update, so we'll see. But yeah, it's I really like the co-op stuff. I think this is the best part of the game because you really get to test out your character and work together with other people. So that was my second suggestion. My third suggestion was obviously listening to the community. I'm shocked by how responsive they are, especially like the last thing they did with like the skins and changing it. That was crazy. I've never seen a dev team do that. Well, maybe like Nikkei dev team at Shift Up, but yeah, they're very responsive. They listen to the fans, so I think they take a lot of our info to heart. They will listen to China over us because China, I mean, they're the #1 revenue source, right, guys? So I think last month, yeah, China made around 800K on mobile, and for PC, probably another a couple 100,000. So they probably made $1 million alone off of China, over $1 million. With us and global, they made around 300,000 on mobile. For PC, it might be slightly more, so maybe around 500K if I had to predict. Who knows? But China's the main audience. They do listen to us though, as well, because it's a smaller community in general, both. So, yeah, I think with those 3 things, adding more stuff, I think if they add movement, add more permanent co-op things, and maybe make like one big open world map, or just like a big map in general where you can do a lot of these things, or a lot of these modes with your co-op partners. Like either have like a big map, a really big map, to where you can do these defense line or hero game or like a zombie horde mode, or just do like an open world where there's like a bunch of people in there, and you can basically like work together with people and go to this section of the map to do horde mode. There's other people in the other section doing defense line zero mode, and it's kind of like a little open square for people to interact. I don't know. That's just a thought. It might be too much to ask, but I'm throwing out ideas. But yeah, that's kind of my story with Snowbreak. I do enjoy the game. I do like making content on the game. I really want to know what you guys think. Do you guys care about the fan service? Do you guys think it's an issue? Do you think they're heading in the right direction? And let me know what you think about the improvements that I suggested to them. Yeah, but I like the game. I'm cool with it all. The fan service is what got me here, and now I'm staying for the gameplay too. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'm out. Later.